The roar of engines faded into the soft hum of the evening as the biker crew rolled down a quiet suburban street, their leather jackets glinting in the orange hue of the setting sun. They were used to noise, speed, and freedom, but not what they were about to encounter. As they neared a small park, one of them, a tall man with a skull tattoo on his arm, noticed a little boy standing alone near the swings. His tiny fists were clenched, and streaks of dried tears marked his dirt-smudged cheeks. But what stopped them all cold was the red mark on the side of his face, a gash just below his eye that looked both fresh and accidental. Before we go on, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of good hearts to change lives, then please take a second to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this story. You never know whose heart it might touch today. The boy didn't flinch when the bikers approached. He didn't even step back. Instead, he looked up at them with wide, terrified eyes and whispered something so soft that the wind nearly carried it away. The man with the tattoo knelt down, his heavy boots pressing into the grass. The boy's lips trembled as he said, "Please help me. Mommy won't wake up." At first, they thought maybe the child was lost, confused, or playing. But the tone in his voice, flat, broken, real, chilled them to the bone. The leader, known among the crew as Tank, gently asked where his mom was. The boy just pointed toward a row of small, weathered houses at the end of the block. Without another word, Tank stood up, looked back at his brothers, and nodded. The engines went silent as they followed the boy's small, determined steps down the cracked sidewalk. The house he led them to was barely holding together, paint peeling, windows cracked, and a broken tricycle rusting on the front lawn. When the boy pushed the door open, the smell hit them first. It was the scent of neglect, damp air, and something else, something heavy. The inside was dim, cluttered with scattered toys and dishes. Tank's boots echoed on the wooden floor as he followed the boy into a small bedroom at the back. That's when they saw her. A young woman, maybe in her late 20s, lay motionless on the bed. Her face was pale, her lips colorless, and her arm dangled off the side, a bottle of pills just out of reach. The boy rushed to her, shaking her hand softly, whispering, "Mommy, wake up. I brought people to help." The bikers froze. These were men who had faced bar fights, accidents, and the hardest roads, but none of that prepared them for this. Tank quickly checked for a pulse while one of the others called 911. There was one weak, but there. Relief mixed with urgency as they cleared the clutter and waited for the ambulance. The boy clung to Tank's arm, asking if his mommy would be okay. Tank didn't know what to say. He simply put his large, leather-gloved hand over the boy's small one and whispered, "We're not going anywhere, kid." When the paramedics arrived, the bikers stayed outside, their engines off, helmets in hand. They watched as the medics carried the woman out on a stretcher. The boy tried to follow, but Tank gently held him back. "Let them help her, all right? They'll take care of her now." The boy just nodded, but his tears wouldn't stop. His name, they soon learned, was Eli, and he was only 6 years old. After the ambulance left, Tank called the local police to explain what had happened, but something in him refused to walk away. He could still see the fear in Eli's eyes, the kind that comes from seeing too much too soon. So while the others returned to the park to wait, Tank stayed behind with the boy until a social worker arrived. When she did, she explained that Eli had no other family nearby. His mom had been struggling for years, job losses, unpaid bills, depression. She had been doing her best, but life had been cruel. That night, as the crew rode back to their clubhouse, the noise of the engines couldn't drown out the silence in their hearts. Tank, who had lost his own son years ago in an accident, couldn't shake the image of that little boy's face. The way he had stood alone, blood on his cheek, asking strangers for help because there was no one else to ask. Over the next few days, Tank couldn't stop thinking about Eli. He called the hospital, the social worker, anyone who might have an update. The woman, Eli's mother, had survived, barely, but she was in rehab now and the boy was in temporary care. Tank didn't know what made him do it, but one morning he rode to the care home and asked to see Eli. When the boy saw him, his face lit up for the first time. "You came back," he whispered. From that day on, Tank and his crew started visiting regularly. They'd bring toys, books, and sometimes just sit and talk. Eli began to smile again. He'd wait by the window whenever he knew the bikers were coming, listening for the distant rumble of their engines like a promise that he wasn't alone anymore. As months passed, Eli's mom slowly began to recover. She wrote letters to her son, apologizing for the pain, promising to get better, to be there for him again. Tank never judged her. He knew the world could break even the strongest people. But he made a silent vow. Until she was ready, they would be Eli's family. The bikers, once seen by neighbors as rough and reckless, became heroes in that small town. They organized fundraisers to help single mothers, donated to local shelters, and even set up a community pantry in Eli's mom's name. Each time someone asked why they cared so much, Tank would simply say, "Because once, a little boy reminded us what being human really means." When Eli's mom was finally discharged, she met Tank in the hospital garden. Her eyes were tired but full of gratitude. She said she'd heard about everything he and the bikers had done, about how they'd watched over her son, protected him, given him hope. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "You saved both of us." Tank shook his head and said softly, "No, ma'am, your boy saved us." A few weeks later, the crew gathered at the park, the same one where they had first met Eli. This time he was laughing, running, his mom sitting on a bench nearby, watching with tears of joy. Tank leaned against his bike, smiling quietly. For the first time in years, he felt peace. Sometimes the road takes you to unexpected places, not always where you want to go, but exactly where you're meant to be. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who needs to believe in good people again. It costs nothing to be kind, but it can change everything. Speech balloon special request. Comment below with the words "kindness still exists" if you believe that even the toughest hearts can do the softest things. As the sun dipped behind the trees, the engines came alive once more, not with noise but with purpose. The crew rode off down the highway, the boy waving behind them, a smile brighter than the sunset. And for Tank, that sound wasn't just the echo of engines. It was the sound of redemption, of hope, and of a promise kept. Because sometimes angels don't wear wings. Sometimes they wear leather and ride motorcycles.